What's going on, guys? Stevie from the MinMasters here, and today I'm going to show you how to Raptor line a really nasty rusted old bed. But before we get into that, welcome to the MinMasters. If this is your first time, I have over 120 some odd videos showing you how to work on this model year of Ford Bronco, and there's also some carryover with the F150s and F350s. So if you need videos on restoration, repairs, or straight up cool mods, hit that subscribe button down there and you can watch me regularly. So let's dive into it. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff here that's going to help me accomplish this. And there's a lot more than you'll need if you're starting with a new bed or one that's in better shape. And by better shape, let me give you a little tour here. Rust hole right through there. Oh, look at that. Woo! Heavy pitting, rust hole. I mean, water has sat in areas where it shouldn't. So this presents a unique challenge because you're not supposed to apply a Raptor liner over bare rust. So there's a few extra steps, and so that will help a lot of you guys with these older beds that you're just trying to hold together. This is the only bed I have, so that's why I'm doing the Raptor liner on it. One of these days, I'll go get another junkyard bed that's a little better shape. We'll have a different story. So to get things started, I use the Eastwood rust converter right here. You just want to apply this liberally to all rusted areas, and the rust will turn kind of a black color, which you'll see mostly everywhere, especially back there. And then you're going to let it sit for 48 hours. So I put this on, I think, Thursday night, and then you can go back and you can actually top coat it with something. Now, I'm not going to stop there. I want to be as protected as possible. So Eastwood also has their rust encapsulator. If you're not using this product, I would say this is a good time to use Pore 15. Pore 15 does have like a rust prep before you do their product. So you can honestly probably skip the rust converter, but both of those will do the job. One thing to note, this will ruin good paint. You can actually see these streak marks is where it's kind of gotten the clear coat a little bit, but that doesn't matter because all that's going to get, covered. So your next step is sanding and scuffing, arguably the part of this, whole product usage that nobody really likes because it takes a little while. It's just not the fun part. But according to Raptor's own directions, if you have a steel bed, you're going to use 80 grit sandpaper. You're going to scuff this thing. And if you have an old bed, it's probably plenty scuffed already, but there are obviously some areas that are still pretty clean, surprisingly. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my sticky back sandpaper there. I've got a couple of sanding blocks if I want to use them, like my Dura blocks. And I'm going to scuff this entire thing so that it has something to adhere to. For the harder to reach areas, I have these scuff pads. You can get these just about any hardware store. I think these are like 3M's, moderate stripping pads. And then another thing that U-Pol, who makes Raptor sells, is this adhesive promoter. Okay, so hard to reach areas you think aren't scuffed enough for the Raptor liner, spray those on that, and that will help the Raptor liner stick. Again, I'm not taking any chances. It's an old bed. Mistakes can happen, and I'm just going to make sure every I is dotted and every T crossed so that we can have a good product adhesion. So let's get started. So here we are, guys. I would say probably under 10 minutes, and I've got this whole bedside and floor scuffed. That's not bad. This is an 8-foot bed. This is one of the largest beds that you can prep for this, and it went by rather quickly, which I do have to say is going to make this mod, or upgrade as you will, seem less laborious than it actually looks. Sanding to me is just one of those not so fun things to do. I'm sure a lot of you agree. So if you've been watching, my method is just to use the 80 grit to get the general amount of sanding done. And then I go back with the scuff pad and I get all the hard to reach areas, as well as I kind of just go over everything once over or twice with the scuff pad. And that kind of just, double check on getting it scuffed properly. So I'm going to transition to the other bedside, the back, and then the floor. There's no particular order. That's just what I've kind of got in my head. Get it all scuffed, and I'll bring you back for the next step of prep. Guys, we are back, and the whole bed is sanded. I must say the part that probably takes the longest is the bed floor itself, just because there's so many valleys and ridges. There's also where all the rust is, and that just eats up your sandpaper, dulls it down, and makes it less effective, so you're switching sandpaper more often. Also, just in case you wonder what that is my fuel pump access hatch. It's an awesome mod and allows you to get to your fuel pump and change it out in seconds. I do have a plastic tank, that's why the collar looks different. And for that, I just scuff both sides of my panel there, and then I'll just make sure the rivet nuts don't get clogged. So next steps here, I've already blown this out, so it's nice and clean from that perspective. However, it's not quite clean enough yet. There's still some residual. Now for that, you have three, let me do a German three. Yeah, three methods. You can either pressure wash your bed out or hose it out and let it air dry. I don't recommend that for the older bed, just because you're just throwing water right on that cancer and you're just gonna start it right up again. The other two methods is either tack cloth the whole thing, and then of course you can use acetone or Eastwood's pre-painting prep, and you can wipe the whole thing down. You just want to get that residual up because that will keep you from having a good stick of the product. After that, you'll want to hit all your bare spots with a self-etching primer, and then for all the rust places, I'm going to hit it with the rust encapsulator. Following that, I'm going to use this adhesive promoter, because you'll see certain areas where it just looks a little too clean. See, to me, that's a little too clean. You'll see where there's a significant dent or a corner or something like that. Areas where it's just very hard and you'll end up sanding down to the bare steel. Those, you'll use that product. So anyway, I'm going to get started on all that prep, and I will bring you back. So here we are, guys. I got myself all set up. So what you're seeing is etch primer and the rust encapsulator. And yes, I had that much rust in my bed where I pretty much had to repaint the whole thing. So everything's taped off side to side. I have to say this Scotch blue stuff that has like the plastic already attached to tape is like the best. Definitely consider using that. So at this point, all ready to go. Through drop cloth over there, I have a couple apple crates on top there. Yeah, I cannot wait. So one other little thing here, I did use the U-Pol or Raptor liner like adhesion promoter. I actually ended up spraying most of the bed with it. I'm sure that can help more than not help. So just kind of went to town with that. You can't see it, it's clear, but I used it just about everywhere. So let's get this Raptor liner mixed up and sprayed on there. So let's move on to the next step. All right, guys, getting set up to spray. I've got my hose going to the air compressor in there. I've got my Raptor liner kit. So depending on the size of the kit, you will get a number of these bottles, which is basically the Raptor type product. And then you will get certain size hardeners. And at least from a mixing standpoint, it's like 8.5 ounces, so the little 8 ounces to one bottle. So I'll use this to pour it out into that, and that will make, a proper mixture. Over here, you get a spray gun. You get this little filler tube. You actually have to screw this into the gun, just in case you're confused by that. The directions don't really tell you. And then you'll get this little regulator here, which right now, due to the pressure buildup in there, is sitting at like 60 PSI. The directions will tell you that. It's like, I think it's about 45. You adjust it with the knob right there. And then, of course, the one bit of information you should take away from this video to make your day so much better. See this fitting? This is a female threaded fitting that adapts to your typical quick release for an air compressor hose. The kit does not come with this piece. If you do not have this piece, you will be totally a fish out of water with this project. Matter of fact, I remember somebody mentioning this when I bought the kit and I was like reading the reviews, and I must have totally skipped my mind. Luckily, my in-laws have that extra piece lying around and saved this whole project, or else I'll be coming back and doing this another day. So remember that piece. All right, so basic setup, all taped off and ready. Got my mask out here, got my other panel. And then, of course, there's always the handy dandy card for any directions. Right here is your mixed ratio, okay? All that's right there. And it will also tell you what to set your sprayer to. So right over there, 40 to 60 PSI. Okay, let's get spraying. All right, guys, you watched it. That's one bottle. And just looking at it, I know it definitely needs 2 coats, but that's just one bottle. So I just did the back, this side here. I didn't really quite do the top rail. So I'm thinking, you know, one bottle might get me some of that, a little bit of the back. So the case has 6 bottles in it. So I'm thinking 3 bottles is 1 coat of everything. And then 3 bottles will be the second coat. But man, does it look cool already. Let me tell you guys, this should put a smile on anybody's face. This truck bed looked awful. Not saying, you know, there's a few little, you know, that look pretty bad, but it looked awful. And now this looks like a truck that just rolled off the assembly line. Can I get my $60,000 XLT package, please? Yes, this looks like one of those. And I have to say, it was one of the easiest things to spray. The gun is easy to use. It's easy to apply. As you see me in the video, that's how easy it is. There are some heavy spots. You probably saw that in this short little clip. And then you'll see some areas where that second coat's definitely needed. But it has been fantastic. There's a little wind today. You can see a little movement in the trees. But I've managed to do this, and it's awesome. It's also pretty forgiving. My drop cloth has actually blown into it here. You might be able to detect a little there. But man, does this look good. So anyway, you're supposed to wait a full hour, and then you'll be able to put the second coat on. I'm assuming that implies walking on this thing, which I don't know who would do that right away. But I don't have that kind of time. So I started that about 45 minutes to 50 minutes ago. That's pretty close to that hour dry time. So I'm actually going to try to lean over the bed a little bit and start getting those areas and get this second coat on. I had to dig into so I've used 3 bottles into the 4th bottle to make this happen. So that should give you an idea what roughly 3 1/4 bottles will get you. So keep that in mind if you have an 8-foot bed. So let it dry a little bit. Hit it, get that second coat going on there, and we are gonna wrap this thing up. Man, this looks so good. Well, here you have it, guys. Here is the finished product. Oh, by the way, that's the tailgate that I spray painted. Check out that video. Hit that little thing up there. Oh yeah. Look at the clean line. Look at that. So I used every single bottle, all 6. Basically did 1 full coat, went back and kind of did some touch-up coat / second coat. I'm sure most people wait to be able to like walk on it, but what I did is used a short ladder, hung over the bed, kept the hose away from the rail, and do spray. And this is what I got. Man, does it look good. Whew. Inside of tailgate. Oh yeah. Let's get that sunset on that tailgate again. Ooh. Man, guys, as you can tell, I am super, super, super happy with how this turned out. How long it will last, who knows, especially since I'm about to do something really stupid, I have to go home in this truck. It's a gravel road, at least less than a mile long to get to paved macadam, so I'm gonna be driving super slow so no dust gets in here. But if I can do this with the conditions that I've been dealt with, I think any one of you guys can do it. Anybody can spray this stuff. Anybody can mix this stuff. Anybody can prep for this stuff. You've got it in the bag. Give this a try, and you will have something that looks that good. So guys, that's all for me. Hit the subscribe icon over here. Check out some of my other videos. I'm Stevie from the Minute Masters. Thanks for watching.